What's up, everybody? Hey. Why y'all ain't tell me today's Thursday and not Friday? I don't know why I thought today was Friday, but it's legitimately not. Probably because I just want Friday to be here so bad. But what's up, everybody? For those of you who are new here, or if you guys are watching the replay, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known on social media as the Money Plug. I'm a board certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant. And I use my platform to teach you guys the importance of like what credit is, how to use it, how to fix it yourself, how to build it, things like that. And so this is kind of like a post-webinar Q&A. For those of you who don't know, today, actually just now, we just did the medical debt webinar, which was really cool. Somebody won a $20 gift card to either Starbucks or DoorDash. I got to check my emails to see what they want, but that was really cool. And the beginning of what I want to start incorporating into the webinars when I give them. So like we might not have as many, but these webinars are going to start including more things. I'm really just waiting on the feedback that I get from this one. But I'm really excited for what the webinars are turning into. And for those of you who don't know, every month I try to do free webinars where I can get everybody together and kind of teach you guys one thing. So today we went over medical debt. And the reason why we went over medical debt is because beginning July 1st, there are some big changes that's going to come to how medical debt reports to the credit bureaus, and that's going to affect your credit score. So in the webinar, we went over what the changes are. Hey, girl. Hey, Soror. We went over what the changes are. We talked about like how it's going to affect your credit score. We talked about how we apply to you. We talked about a couple of different things. So I liked the turnout, I guess. Yeah, I liked the turnout. It went well. I have no idea why TikTok is not working. Oh, well, but let me see if I can end it and bring it back up. Let's see. Go live. But yeah, so the webinar went really, really well. Man, the one last week, man, I think that's still my favorite, hands down. So if you attended the webinar last week, shout out to you, because I definitely think that that's my favorite one so far. And the reason why I say that is because they were so engaged. Like they had all the questions. Like they had all the questions. They had like even after the fact, like the emails that I got showed me that they were paying attention. And not even only that, you know, I feel like obviously the topic probably was more, what can I say, engaging or eye-catching. Like more people cared about credit building than they did about medical debt. But I don't know. I just thought it was last week was really, really cool. Ha, there we go, TikTok. Okay, I don't know why I was giving me all them problems before, but we're live. But I just wanted to go live to do a Q&A. One, because I thought it was Friday, so there's that. I definitely thought it was Friday, and as I ended the webinar, I was like, yeah, so, you know, I go live on Fridays anyway. So I'm just going to get off of here and get on TikTok because every Friday I go live. And then I went in my husband game room, and I was telling him, like, yeah, the webinar went good. He was like, it's not Friday. It's Thursday, so... But since I had already told everybody I was going live, I figured I would come on here and go live anyway. But yeah, so it was something else I had to tell you. Oh, so I'm announcing it on live. I'm not making a post right now. I'm only announcing this live, and it's not even that many people on here, so this is actually even better. I did too. Oh yeah, okay. So everybody has been asking about me doing a course, a credit repair course, teaching somebody how to fix credit. Pretty much all my knowledge kind of wrapped up into like one thing that somebody can go through and kind of learn the things that I learned. And I kept putting it off. And I'm like, it's coming. And it's actually coming a lot sooner than y'all may think. So I'm shooting for September 1st. The framework is already done. I can tell you guys that so far. I know for real, I do wish it was Friday, girl. Oh, my Jesus. The framework is already done. There is well over 40 plus modules, and that's just in the main course. There are 2 add-ons that are available for specific situations that may not apply to you. But I don't know. I'm excited. I kept saying I was scared to do it. I really didn't want to. Like, but y'all were asking and asking and asking. And I don't know, I think it's going to be really cool. So with the course, there's also going to be like a special Facebook group where you guys will meet every week and we'll have a live and you guys get to ask specific questions about the content that you learned that week. Because even though it's technically self-paced, when the class debuts, we're going to have like a class date. And then you'll have access to the class. I will say this, the course will be available for a lifetime. So once you pay for the course, you will have access to it forever. Even when changes are made and things like that, you will still have access to the course to have access to that information. So I will give you guys that as well. What else can I tell you? It's a lot. Like, it's a lot of information. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Like, y'all think that my lives, when I get on here and I go live, I'm live for like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. And I'm sitting here talking to you guys about credit. But that course is going to be like that on crack. Like, it's going to detail everything. It's going to have copies of letters. It's going to have breakdowns of the laws. It's going like dispute flows. Like, man, there's going to be so much information and I'm so excited. And with the course, they've also convinced me to open up a mentorship program. And so I'm not accepting a whole bunch of people and it's on a case-by-case basis. Like we will have to have a meeting to even see if we are compatible, to see if you qualify for the mentorship program. But for those of you who already have an established credit repair, or if you are an established credit repair organization, right? I do have mentorship available. I'm technically not making the post until tomorrow to announce it and to kind of like start talking about the course so I can really see what you guys want, what information you guys kind of need to see in there. But if you guys are watching the live, you will be able to sign up for mentorship. I'm only accepting 3 people right now, and it's a 3-month mentorship program. And I'm only accepting 3 people, and your business has to already be established, because I'm not going over how to establish a credit repair business. I want to go over how to help you guys run or better operate as a credit repair company. So that is the requirements, and we will have a meeting right prior to me accepting you as somebody for the mentorship. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. But anyway, so today's workshop, we did go over medical debt, and I know I probably should talk about it on the live, but I really kind of want to go back to last week. Last week, we talked about credit building, and for those of you who attended, I gave you guys that ebook that I put together for you all, where we talked about the different tiers of credit cards, and like what cards kind of qualify, like what cards you should be applying for depending on what tier you're at, and kind of like, things like that. And so what I wanted to do is kind of talk about that a little bit, because a lot of the questions that I've gotten like in email since then all pertains to like, well, what credit, like, how do I know where do I fall and like what credit cards I should be applying for? So first things first, you guys know when I did, and last week the webinar was called Congratulations, Now What? And it was marketed towards college and high school graduates, people entering the world of work who just don't have credit. Even though we went over rebuilding stuff, we really started with people who have no credit. Maybe you just turned 18, or maybe you're graduating college and you didn't necessarily think it was important to build credit, or didn't understand credit building while you were in school. And now that you're an adult, you're like, look, I got shit I want to get. So we did talk about that, but I really kind of want to talk about the different tiers and why they're separated the way they are, and why you don't qualify for this card, even though, I make $100,000 a year. When it comes to companies, you guys have to understand that these credit cards are companies. These banks are companies. So they're always going to do what's best for the company. Your credit score is just a risk assessment. That's what your credit score is. Your credit score tells a company what risk they are assuming by giving you an account with them. So are you good at paying your bills? Do you not, you don't always pay your bills on time, but you pay them? Or are you one of those people who just, look, I'm about to write this up and I'm not going to pay this off, and you're going to have to catch me out in traffic because that's it. Like, so that's what your credit score does. Now, that score is determined by the actual accounts that you have reporting on your consumer report or your credit report. That's the part that you guys need to be focused on. A lot of you are more focused on your score and, damn, I got a 720. Why am I being denied an Amex? And you guys are not understanding that any decisions that are made in regards to your credit is based off of the information that is being reported to your consumer report. So yeah, your score could be 800, but do you know why your score is 800? Or yeah, your score is 570, but do you understand why your credit score is 570? It's really important that you guys stop being so obsessed with the numbers and start looking at where those numbers came from. why are they giving you that number is the most important part. If you did not know how they calculate your credit score, it's 5 sections that kind of all play a part in your credit score. The first and most important section, right, is your on-time payment history. I have a 743 and still can't buy a house. That's because it's likely that there's something on your credit report that's preventing you from doing so. Now, the first section that they use to calculate your credit score is payment history. How many of your accounts are you actually paying on time, all the time? You want that number to be as close to 100% as possible. If you are somebody who had at some point in time you struggled with on-time payments, or if you are struggling now with on-time payments, the first piece of advice I can give you is you need to cut out what you can and pay what you can't. You guys have to pay people on time in order to keep asking them for shit. It just doesn't make sense for you to not pay none of your bills on time and then get mad because nobody wants to give you an account anymore. Now, if you've turned your life around, let's say you used to have issues with income, changed a lot during COVID. Some people were laid off. Some people just, lost hours or whatever the case may be. And so they fell behind. So you might have had late payments from like the beginning of COVID or the middle of COVID or whatever the case may be. So there are a couple ways that you can remove late payments or missed payments from your credit report. Now, if your account is still open, and you have a good relationship with this company, meaning you have more on-time payments and positive relationships with these companies than negative, an option that you have is a Goodwill letter. Now, what I will say about Goodwill letters is that they are not, it's not an automatic yes. And just because they tell you no does not mean that that's the end and you should just kind of stop right there. What I mean by that is, for example, and I always tell the story when I had my Capital One, my Capital One had a late payment across 2 separate credit cards. I sent this letter in 3 times before Capital One was finally like, all right, girl, fuck, I'm tired of these letters. Like, all right, go, fine. We'll go ahead and we'll, approve the thing. And it was funny because I wasn't expecting it, but it happened. It's all about, one, who looks at your account that day. You have to understand that there are people behind these systems, right? And people make decisions and people can have shitty days and be shitty people. And so sometimes it could be somebody's having a bad day and that's why they chose not to. Or it could be something that's going on in the company that week. And we're not doing this right now. But again, it is at the creditor's discretion. So they don't have to forgive your late payments. However, the better the relationship that you have with that lender, the higher your chances of actually getting the late payments removed are. I typically tell people you want to have at least 1 year on-time payment history if you really want to get all of them updated. Now, there are times when a company will be like, look, we'll update a couple of these, but not all of these. That's fine too. The more on time, the more negative payment history you can get flipped to positive payment history, the better for you. But one, you don't want to lie. You don't want to reach out to these companies that you still have an active open account with and be like, I was never late in the first place. One, you're lying. 2, they know you're lying. And now you might have soured the relationship that you have with them because you're calling them a liar. If you call one of your good friends, right, your really close friends, you look them in their face after a conversation you just had with them and you calling them a liar and you mean it with your chest, like you saying that shit with your chest, that can ruin friendships. So why do you not think it'll ruin a professional relationship? You got to understand these people are taking a risk on you. And so if they at any point in time feel as though you are untrustworthy, they have the right to close your account at any point at any point in the account history, and they don't have to tell you beforehand. A lot of you don't read the terms and conditions and all that stuff when you guys sign up for credit cards, but they can literally close your account for anything and they don't have to tell you until after the fact. So you really want to be very careful with the interactions that you're having with open, actively reporting accounts. So when it comes to removing late payments, do not lie to these companies. Now, if they still refuse to do it, it's not the end of the world. You just got to make sure that from that moment forward, you have on-time payment history as well as, doing all the other things when it comes to credit to make sure that you're establishing a solid credit profile. And the reason why I say that is because with late payments, the older a late payment is, the less of an effect it has on your score. And because of that, all you really need is time. If they refuse to remove it, time can help a lot. Because the more on-time payments you have, the less, and the more time passes, the less of an effect that missed or late payment can have on your credit report. Now, let's say this is a closed account and you have late payments on a closed account. Your first option is to always ask. You never know what you can get by asking. And you simply say, hey, to whom it may concern, right? I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you all are reporting some late payments that I had during, my time with your company. Can you please update those late payments to paid as agreed? Thanks. right? Literally that simple. I never said it was a lie. I never said I wasn't late. Like none of that. Sometimes they'll just do it. Now, if they tell you no, which can happen again, right? It can happen. Something else that you can try is you can say, hey, can you please send me a copy of all of the payment history associated with this account? Make sure you have the account number. They'll send it to you. You go through the account history and you can identify each individual late payment and you can force the company to validate each individual late payment. Remember, when it comes to anything on your credit report that you plan on disputing, it's not about what's true and what's false. It's about what can they prove. So do you all have the proper documentation to substantiate your claim that I was actually late? That's literally what it boils down to. And if they got it, girl, fuck it. You already lost the points. And if they don't have it, now you won and they now have to change that late payment to paid as agreed. What about what should be a 30-day late is reporting as 90? That's considered an inaccuracy and that's grounds for dispute, period. You know for a fact that you were only 30 days late and it's reporting as 90 and there's nothing else before that. The only time I was about to say, if you see it reporting as 90 days late and there's nothing else prior to that, like showing that you were actually late, you can dispute that. But if it's a student loan, a federal student loan, they only report at 90 days late. Once you hit 90 days late, that's when they start reporting late payments for your federal student loans. You won't see 30 or 60 days late. Now, outside of that, yeah. Now, again, if you tried everything disputing these late payments, right, and it's just not coming off, just change your focus. Instead of focusing on removing it, focus on just providing better history from now on. The prior month was on time. If you have evidence to support that the prior month you were on time and they're reporting a 90-day late, you can provide a proof of payment that you made the month prior, highlight on your credit report where it's reporting that, the prior month was on time. So contact your loan servicer. So instead of going to the credit bureaus, you can go directly to your loan servicer with your evidence and they should be able to update that account to whatever it's supposed to be. Now, this only works for credit cards, what I'm about to tell you. But this is another reason why I tell you guys that you guys need to make sure that you know the laws. And a couple of you know this. I've been saying it for a while on the lives and things that I do. But another way that you can dispute late payments, and this is all, again, this is only for credit cards, right? So I know a lot of you have been going around and I know you've seen the TikToks, right? TikTok is filled with everybody and their mom who are credit repair specialists. And they'll tell you late payments are illegal. They cannot report late payments. And they might even show you a law, right, that says they cannot report late payments. But what they're not showing you is the rest of that law. The law that they're pointing to is something known as the Fair Credit Billing Act. It only applies to opening accounts like credit cards, lines of credit. And what that law states is that it is illegal for a company to report late payments unless they can prove that no later than 21 days before the actual payment due date, they provided you with a monthly statement or access to your monthly statement. Now, if you have an online portal with that company, making it available in the portal does classify as making it available to you. That is something I will say. However, if you have proof that you did not have access to your monthly statement no less than 21 days before your actual payment due date, then you can force them to change that one particular late payment to paid as agreed. But this is why it pays to know the federal laws. I mean, also obviously look up your state laws because you never know what you could find. But when it comes to the FCBA specifically, I know a lot of people like to use it to try to make it seem like all late payments are illegal. That's not the case. The FCBA only applies to open in accounts like credit cards. What are you using to go live? This is amazing. So I'm actually using StreamYard right now. I created this template by myself. The thing that you're seeing with the sticky notes. I know Instagram, you guys can't see it. But when I go live on like TikTok, because the reason why I use StreamYard is because I'm live on multiple platforms right now. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, inside the Facebook group, as well as on my Facebook page. So I use StreamYard to stream to all of those at one time. And I create a template so that people can still see my other platforms. Oh, thank you for the gifts. If I apply for 5 apartments within 2 weeks, will that only be one inquiry? No. Oh, and I hate that people think that. So I know what you're referring to. A lot of people be like, if you apply for the same thing in an industry within 30 days of each other, it's only going to hit your credit score once. This is why I keep telling you guys, stop focusing on the score and focus on the information that's actually reporting. And the reason why is because even though it's only going to affect your score one time, the inquiry is still going to report to the credit bureaus. And so when you pull a copy of your credit report, you're going to see all of the places that you applied to. And no matter what your credit score is, if you have too many inquiries in a 12-month time period, you will start being denied for items. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that now. All right, so we talked about late payments and we talked about the importance of payment history, right? That's 35% of your credit score. The next section that they use to calculate your credit score is probably the most important section. With this particular section, this is the easiest way to boost your score. So if you are somebody who needs some points, just a couple, or even if it's a lot, right? If you need points and you really don't have that much time, this is probably the only section that you'll be able to affect change. And that is your credit utilization. When it comes to your credit utilization, this means when you add all of your credit card credit limits together, right? That means this $1,000 card, this $500 card, this $2,000 card, right? When you add all of them together and you have your total, this is not your debt to credit ratio, and you have your total like available credit balance, and you look at how much you owe on each individual card and you add them together, that percentage needs to be less than 10%. Now, I know when you guys start Googling, like, how much of my credit card should I actually be using? A lot of the websites will tell you 30%. That is incorrect. Now, for some people, I guess that's fine. But if you are somebody who needs to maximize the points on your credit report, like you need as many points as possible, right? You need to make sure that your overall credit availability is less than 10% each and every time your credit cards report to the credit bureaus. Now, you can use as much of your credit cards as you would like. If you only got one, if you got 1,000, you can use as much as you would like. However, before each individual card reports to the credit bureaus, this is something known as your statement date. You need to make sure that the balance for each card is paid as low as possible without touching zero. This is because they want to know that you're using their products. Companies want to see that you're using your credit cards, but they don't want to see high balances on these cards because that's a red flag. It's a very risky behavior. Now, by paying your cards down before your monthly statement is drawn up, what that does is that reports to the credit bureaus as consistently low reporting utilization, meaning it looks to them as if you are very responsible. Now, they can also see all the transactions you made, right? But they also see that you paid it all off before they went to the credit bureaus. Now, when they go to the credit bureaus and tell on you, by making sure you pay all of your cards down, that way when they draw up your monthly statement, the amount that you're being assessed interest, if you even allow them to assess you interest, is mad low. So this is a good way for you to control your credit card debt, right? Because you're paying everything down. And it also is a way for you to maximize that points in that section. So if you are somebody who needs points and you have high balances on your credit cards, pay your credit cards down. And I typically tell people that when you are trying to put your credit cards in order to pay them down, like what order should you pay them down in? Do it by interest rate. Pay off the credit card with the highest interest rate first, because that's the one that's going to take you the longest to pay off if you don't. Because every time you make a payment, it's like the interest comes right back and it's like you just didn't make any progress. So if you are somebody who needs a lot of points and a little bit of time, right? Or if you just need points, period, and you're not understanding where all your points are, check your credit utilization. This is the easiest section to manipulate for points, but it's also the easiest one to kind of forget about when it comes time to figuring out why you don't qualify for something. What can I do to remove a medical bill that I have disputed, came back verified with no proof? Well, force them to prove it. If you sent in a debt validation letter and they sent you a bill, that's not a debt validation. Force them to provide a proper debt validation. And if they continue not to do so, demand a removal. And if that doesn't work, file a complaint. And if that doesn't work, go to the FTC. And if that doesn't work, you can file a complaint with your state's attorney general's office. But there's obviously escalation of force, right? Start at the lowest level, work your way up. You can't just instantly jump to a complaint with the attorney general's office. But you have to demonstrate that you tried everything possible to solve this at the lowest level before getting that far. How do I keep my credit up? How I kept my credit up since I was 18. I have no idea what you're talking about. I paid Capital One, but didn't realize they closed the card. Equitably showed 30-day late pay closed. So the 30-day late and you paying the card off after the card was closed are two separate problems, right? So you being 30 days late is one thing. If you were not late, you need to provide proof to them that you were not late. Now, again, companies can close your credit cards for whatever reason. they literally don't need a reason. In all honesty, if I'm gonna be honest with you, they can close it for whatever reason, and then they don't have to tell you until after the fact. And Capital One, it'll be showing as in restriction on the app if you have the app. And then once you pay it off, the account will show as closed. And that is because when an account is charged off or closed with a balance still on it, that balance is still counting against your credit utilization. And then once that card is completely paid off, it will no longer count against your credit utilization. And the card will close out. I'm talking about Capital One. Other cards do this too. What if you maxed your credit card out? You can max it out all you want. It's just that by the time it reports to the credit bureaus, meaning, and what I mean, how you calculate that is you can always call and ask what your statement date is, or you can calculate it manually by looking at your billing cycle. A billing cycle is not determined by like the days in the month, but it's set by how many days are in your billing cycle. So if you have 30 days in your billing cycle, the day after your billing cycle ends is your statement date. That is when they go tell the bureaus how much of your money you've been using. That's when they send out your monthly statement. And so you want to make sure that your card is paid down before that. How many credit cards should you have? That is determined by you and your spending habits. When it comes to credit cards, they should reward the spending you're already doing, not encouraging you to spend more. And you shouldn't have accounts that you're not using. Credit cards are only valuable if you're using them, right? So you want to make sure that you're actually using the credit cards. So if you have so many cards that you're not using some, you have too many. But if you're doing a lot of spending and you're swiping your debit card a lot and you're not really getting rewarded for it, you need to start looking at banks and identifying banks that have cards that's going to support the spending you're already doing. And what I mean by that is this. So let's say you are somebody who drives a lot for work, right? You commute to work. And so that's a lot of gas. So every couple of days, you go into the gas station and swiping your debit card for about $50, $60, putting gas in the car. You got to spend that money. You can't not spend that money. So why not be rewarded for that spending? So next time you go to the gas station, if you have a credit card that rewards spending on gas, you would use, instead of spending $50, $60 on your debit card, you would take your credit card, pay the $50 for your gas. And then when you get home or when you get to work or once you get in the car, you would schedule a same day payment for the same exact $50. So now you didn't spend any additional money, right? Your balance is going to be zero once it settles, right? Once your payment comes out, and you've now got 3% cash back on the gas that you was going to get anyway. You see what I'm saying? You're being rewarded for the spending that you're already doing. That is the point of a credit card. So only you can determine how many credit cards you should have specifically. But again, you need to make sure that you need to be using them. So if you're not using them, you have too many. And you need to make sure that the cards you have support the spending that you're already doing. Paying your credit off when you use it before they report it is how I kept my credit up since 18. Oh, okay. I see that all the time. I work for Capital One. Sorry, I'm in Equifax. Yes, they closed the account balance, shows $0. I didn't know they closed it. Yeah, they don't have to notify you until after it's already closed. Unfortunately, like that sucks. Yeah, but they don't have to tell you until after it's closed. But once the credit card is paid off with Capital One, I say like wait a month or 2 or 3, right? And then Capital One is what I call a second chance lender. They will allow you to come back and get another card with them as long as you paid the card off. And sometimes they'll allow you to come back even if you didn't. Because like I know somebody who had a card with them, the card was closed, charged off, went to collections, and then while the account was still in collections because they did not pay it, they qualified for another Capital One card. Like I thought that was so flipping crazy when I saw that. What other questions you guys got for me? So we talked about payment history, right? That's 35% of your credit score. We talked about your credit utilization. That's 30% of your credit score. So let's talk about the next section, which is the length of credit history. It's 15% of your credit score and probably the most ignored section when it comes to credit building. And this is time. It takes time to build credit. Y'all will, oh my God, like I get on these calls with you guys or I'm reading my emails and they're like, listen, my credit score is a 500. I need a 750 in 30 days. What do I got to do? Not possible. Not possible. Because you need time. And you know what? I just had this conversation, I want to say yesterday with one of my clients. When it comes to credit repair is not important. I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. Credit repair is not the most important part. Credit repair and credit building works together, right? They're connected. If you're repairing your credit without building your credit properly, you're not going to go far. You're not going to go far. Like removing accounts and rehabbing accounts and stuff, you might see some progress, but after a while, you're not going to see anything at all. And then as time passes and the accounts get old and fall off and things like that, your score is going to start dropping actually. However, if you are, and then, if you're building without repairing the previous things, what can often happen is you'll be getting points, but it's often not at the rate that you want them to kind of be happening. But if you're repairing your credit and rebuilding your credit at the same time, they work together to give you the progression that a lot of you are looking for. But so many of you focus on, I need to get this taken off and this taken off and this taken off, that you're not focusing on the building aspect. A lot of you also don't understand that just because you dispute something does not mean it's going to come off. No matter how many times you dispute it, if it keeps popping back up, there's a reason that it keeps popping back up. You guys got to stop focusing on this concept that you have to have a squeaky clean credit profile to have good credit. I know people with good credit who got a late payment or two. I know people who had a charge off and just bought a house. I know somebody who got a repossession and bought a new car. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to have a squeaky clean credit profile. However, the building is the most important part, because if you repair your credit without doing the building, you're still not going to go anywhere. So it's important that you guys understand that a part of that building is allowing time to pass. As time passes, right, and you making on-time payments, that's increasing your payment history, and you are have consistently low reporting utilization, right? That's that second, category we talked about. As time passes, those derogatory marks cost you less and less points, and the positive information that you're adding to your credit profile gives you more and more points. And so you guys have to allow time to do its thing. So many of you are just like, well, I need to get it off and I need to get off now. And I need this. I need 100 points in 26 days. And I need this and I need that. That's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. Now, the next section is going to be mix of accounts. Mix of accounts means that you need to have good, you need to have equal, not necessarily equal, but you need to have a good amount of different types of credit. There's two main types of credit, and there's a third that we'll put like an asterisk next to, but the main two types of credit are installment loans and credit cards or lines of credit. Now, the one with the asterisk next to it are like charge cards or charge accounts. A lot of people don't have them. They're not going to penalize you if you don't, but you definitely want to make sure that you guys have a good mix of credit cards / lines of credit and installment loans. And the reason why is because it makes you look like a well-rounded bill payer. They need to know that you pay all your bills, right? I pay all my bills. My bills are paid, right? They want to make sure that that it's demonstrated on your credit report. They want to see that you know how to pay a loan. Let's say you're somebody who's only ever had credit cards, and that's cool. But then when you go apply for a home loan, you either paying extra in interest or you probably won't qualify because you have no loan history. They have no idea how you do with paying back installment loans. And so a lot of people aren't willing to take that risk, or they're going to charge you extra to take on that risk. And that's why you tend to have the high interest rates. So that's also something you want to take into consideration when you're rebuilding or building your credit history. Having a good mix of accounts. A good baseline that I typically tell my clients to work towards, and you can exceed it if you want, but this is the average person who has good credit has at least 3 credit cards, 1 short-term loan, which is an installment loan with a term length of like 2 years or less, and then 1 long-term loan, which is an installment loan that takes longer than 2 years to pay off. Now, there are some people who don't have one thing or have more of another, and that's fine as well. This is an average, right? But you should be looking to have that kind of balance. I'm not saying if you have everything else except a long-term loan, I'm not telling you to go out and buy a car. I'm not telling you to go out and buy a home. You could probably maybe add another short-term loan onto there, or maybe just don't have any long-term loan, and that's still fine. You still could have a good credit profile. But like I said, this is just a good baseline to work towards or to aspire towards. Now, the very last section that's used to calculate your credit score is your inquiries section or new accounts. Now, I know somebody asked the question earlier. Some of you weren't in here, but they were like, if I apply for something a bunch of times in like a 2-week time period, is that only one inquiry? And the answer is no. Each individual inquiry will be recorded on your credit report. And that is because legally, whenever you give a company authorization to pull your credit, they have to report that they pulled your credit to the credit bureaus. That is a part of the FCRA. And so even though it only affects your credit score one time, having all those inquiries on your credit report can still get you denied for things that your credit score would normally qualify for you for. And I always tell you guys the story about the guy who popped in one of my lives and was like, I need an appointment immediately. Paid me, came to the appointment. This guy has an 800 credit score, no late payments, on time credit, like, credit card balance is low, never had any issues. But he was going around adding all these credit cards to his profile within the last 6 months. He had 20 inquiries from different companies. That is a huge red flag. That is very risky behavior. And lenders are not going to keep approving you, no matter what your credit score is. Having too many inquiries in a 12-month time period will get you disqualified from certain accounts. And then there are certain restrictions that companies themselves put into place. For example, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Chase, the 524 rule. If you open up more than 5 credit cards in a 24-month time period, Chase will deny you for an account. So it's important that you guys understand that inquiries play a big role in your approval, even if it doesn't play a huge role in your score. Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe so. But yeah. So that's how your credit score is calculated. And all 5 of those sections work together. So your on-time payment history, your credit utilization, the length of credit history, the mix of accounts, and the inquiries/new credits. All of these work together to create your credit score, which is a risk assessment for companies. They can look at your credit score and determine whether or not they want to assume the risk of opening up an account with you. Now, everybody is all like, oh, where do I go to look for my credit score? Which credit score is right? Why are all these credit scores different? And honestly, the answer is all of them are correct. All of the credit scores that you're seeing are correct. It's just that depending on what your goals are, you're going to want to look at different credit scores. And what I mean by that is there are 2 main credit scoring models, Vantage and Fico. Vantage is typically what you see with Smart Credit, Identity IQ, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, those kind of websites. It's not that score is incorrect, right? It's just that is a scoring model that some companies use. However, for a lot of you, the goals that you set for yourself and the companies that you want to establish relationships with do not use Vantage scores when determining whether or not you qualify for an account. They are using some variation of a FICO score. Now, FICO offers a lot of scores. They offer FICO 8, FICO 9, FICO 10, FICO 10T. These are all base scores, which judge your ability to pay back any kind of debt. Now, FICO also offers something known as industry-specific scores, which are things like your FICO 2, FICO 4, and FICO 5, which are known as your mortgage scores. These are the companies that mortgage companies look at when they determine whether or not they're going to give you a home loan. There's your FICO auto score, which talks about your ability to pay back an auto loan debt. So with FICO industry-specific scores, that judges your ability to pay back that mortgage, or judges your ability to pay back that car, or judges your ability to pay back that credit card. And the reason why these are important is because it uses the same 5 categories, right? It's just that the percentages are kind of weighed differently because they prioritize different parts of your credit score. Of your credit report, I apologize, when calculating your credit score. So, and this is why I tell people all the time, stop looking at the score. Stop looking at the score, because if one score says 600 and one score says 700, you're not going to care about the 600. You're only going to care about the 700. But what happens when you apply for an account and they're using that 600 score? Stop focusing on the number and focus on the information that you have reporting to the credit bureaus. That is where the change is going to come from. That's when you're really going to start like, damn, I get it now. I'm getting these points back. I see it now. I have Credit One, Amex, Discover, pledge loan, and car payment percentage 97, 98. Is that okay? I'm not sure. What do you mean? Is that okay? Is what okay? That you have those things? Do you got good credit? That's going to tell you if it's okay or not. Only you can decide whether or not you have enough or too many accounts. And the reason why I say that is because nobody understands your history more than you, or what you can afford. At the end of the day, it literally boils down to what can you afford. If you can only afford one credit card right now, okay, bro, only have that one credit card right now. If you can only afford 2 credit cards, only have the 2 credit cards right now. That's fine. You guys got to stop taking your situation and where you are currently and comparing it to other people and wondering, is this a good credit profile? I don't know. Is it a good credit profile? Do you have good credit? I can't answer that just based off of the information that you gave me, unfortunately. It literally, like, all of those things that I described to you, all of those categories play a role in that. And this is why I tell you guys before, like, a lot of people will sign up for credit repair and have never looked at their credit report. All they know is that their score isn't where they want it to be. And so they want somebody to fix it and they try to throw money at the problem. You can't do that. When it comes to how your credit, that again, that's not enough information for me to tell you whether or not that's a good credit profile. It's not. All 5 of those categories play a role. And so without me being able to physically see the details of each account and how it's reporting and what in there that could be costing you points, I can't tell you whether or not that's a good credit profile. Is it okay to pay a charge-off / closed account that has went to collections under $100? Lender says the payment can be made with them and they will update it with collections and will file a dispute. So here's the thing about that. And I hate when companies tell you guys to do that. Just because you file a dispute does not mean that the account is going to come off. So if you pay that and then you lose the dispute because a payment validates a debt, right? If you pay that and you lose the dispute, that account is now stuck on your credit profile for the next 7 years. So what I'm going to suggest for you, since your lender said it has to come, like you have to pay it, like it has to come off. What I would suggest is reaching out to that company. Reach out to that company and say, hey, listen, if you want to call, I hate phone calls, but y'all just love talking to motherfuckers on the phone. So when you call them, like, hey, listen, you guys are reporting that I owe a debt. I'm not saying that I do, but I am saying that I need it off today. If I give you the money that you're saying that I owe you for this account, can you remove this account from our credit report? When it comes to collections, the only way to get points back from that collection is to remove it. Now, if they agree to what you're saying over the phone, have them send it in an email. Have them send you an email saying, per our phone conversation, if you give us a payment immediately of this amount, we will remove this account from collections. This is known as a pay to delete. You have to negotiate this for yourself. You can't just expect the company to do it for you. If it's not in their policies, they're not going to do it and they're not going to offer it. But don't call and say, can I get a pay to delete? That's not what you say. Because now they know that you're desperate to get this shit off. They're going to try to play you. Be like, listen, if I give you the money, can you take it off? Like, you don't want to sound like every single other person that called. You want to sound like I'm just a lonely consumer who's trying to fix their credit. You don't want to sound like a credit repair specialist, right? So you say, listen, I got $100 right now, and I will give this to you if you stop reporting to the credit bureaus. And they'll be like, yeah. I'll be like, all right, well, here's my email address. Can you send exactly what you just said to me in an email so that I can give it to my lender so that they know that, and then I'm going to pay immediately after, and then I need proof of payment. And then you can take those 2 documents and submit it to your lender so that even though it's not reflected on your credit report right away, they take about 45 business days to update your credit report. Your lender sees that it's done and it's taken care of and that account will come off. And that will help with your approval chances. Any tips on getting an eviction removed off a credit report? So it depends. If it's a judgment, like they've already taken you to court and the court has ordered that you owe it, the chances of you getting it removed are slim to none. I'm going to be honest with you. Because once a judge makes a judgment, the only thing that can remove that said judgment is if the judge vacates that judgment. That is the only thing that can absolve you of that debt. Now, hiding a judgment is not the same thing as removing it because technically you still owe. And when you have a judgment entered against you, a lot of times they can start garnishing your wages or any federal benefits that you get depending on the kind of debt it is. We talked about that yesterday on the live. But there's a lot of consequences to not paying judgments. Now, if this is just an account like you owed an apartment building and they sold the debt to collections, you have not been to court, court has not ordered you to pay, and it's just reporting as in collections, you would dispute that the way you would dispute any other kind of debt. You would question the validity of the debt. You would look at the account to identify any inaccuracies in the way that it's reporting. You would literally treat it like any other account. Can you explain soft inquiry versus hard inquiry on your credit? The only thing you should pay attention to is a hard inquiry. The only person who can see a soft inquiry is you. And it has no bearing on your score whatsoever. It's just their way of saying, yo, by the way, just so you know, so-and-so came by here looking for you. That's literally what the bureaus are saying. We got to think about it like, let's say your credit report is your home, right? And the credit bureaus is a gated community and with security, right? And so those soft inquiries is just security saying, hey, by the way, I've seen some people walking past your house and looking around, just so you're aware. They did not formally request access to your entire credit history. However, they just took a little look at it. Now, a lot of times when you have like Community Bank, which they back a lot of they tend to back a lot of like stores or like rooms, not rooms to go. What is it? JC Penney is Synchrony. Community is Victoria's Secret. But if you have those companies, those two companies specifically, you might see them a lot in your soft inquiry section because they constantly monitor your credit score. Because once you get an account, you're not stuck with that account forever. At any point in time, that company can cut their losses and close your account. And how they manage to kind of keep evaluating that risk is keeping an eye on your credit score. If your score drops too many points, first they'll probably like lower your credit limit, or if it's an already low credit limit, they'll just go ahead and close your card because they're scared that you're not going to pay them that money back. And so they're going to close it before you get the opportunity to rack up any more debt. That's just kind of what it is, and it's completely legal. If you have Capital One, you might see Credit Wise right there. A soft inquiry has no bearing on your credit score, your credit worthiness, nothing. Now, a hard inquiry means that this company had your written consent, written authorization, or verbal consent to pull a copy of your credit report. And once they do that, legally, they have to report that they pulled your credit, when they pulled your credit, and what report they looked at. Because all companies are not going to look at all three. That's something else you guys got to understand as well. And so when you're trying to remove inquiries, right, the thing you want to do is you want to play off the law of permissible purpose. The law of permissible purpose states that a company has to have evidence of the written authorization or the verbal authorization where you said that they could pull a copy of your credit. And so if you had, let's say you went car shopping and you didn't get a pre-approval and they ran your credit into the mud, right? What you could do is for each company that you did not open the loan with, you could dispute it. And you can say, listen, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you all are reporting inquiries that on my credit report. Please provide me a copy of the authorization that I provided each individual company, giving them permission to pull copies of my credit. If you cannot provide this information, please remove these inquiries from my credit report as it violates the rights given to me under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, because the law of permissible purpose states they have to have evidence of the authorization. And if they can, and sometimes the bureaus will investigate. Sometimes the bureaus will tell you that you have to go to each individual company. And if that's the case, you take the same exact letter and you'll just send it to the individual company. You'll say, hey, you said that I gave you permission to pull my credit. Prove it. Do not say that you are not the person who authorized these inquiries. Do not say it was identity theft. Don't say it wasn't me. Like, don't say none of that. Do not commit fraud while trying to repair your credit. Because if it comes out that you are lying, you can be punished. You can be punished, and companies can even seek restitution. So just kind of keep that in mind. And if you are working with a credit repair company and they're telling you to lie, it violates the Credit Repair Organizations Act for a credit repair organization to advise a client to commit fraud during the act of repairing their credit. Keep that in mind. Now, not my sister asking me, do I got anything for you on Chick-fil-A? I have a remaining balance from an apartment complex, but it keeps coming back verified when I dispute it. What should I do? Okay, it's coming back verified for a reason. So you need to figure out, why is it coming back verified? And also, when it comes to disputing, why do you keep, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. So if you are using the same dispute tactic and you're sending the dispute to the same people over and over and over, you're going to get the same result each and every time. It's going to keep coming back as verified. And so you need to do something different. Why is it coming back verified? So after an account comes back as verified, right, this means that you went to the bureaus, because the bureau verifies, the creditor validates. So that means you went to the bureaus and the bureau said, nah, this is right. I want you to understand the credit bureaus have no power. The credit bureaus are a lot like the president of the United States. You might think they got a lot of power because that's the person who's doing a lot of the talking, but they really can't make any decisions. Like, they're going based off of everything that somebody else is telling them. And so when you initiate a dispute with the credit bureaus, all they're doing is like, yo, did you mean to say this way? Yes. Oh, okay. Hey, they said what they said. That is what the credit bureaus is saying. Now, if you moved from verification to validation, right? So let's say the bureaus came back as verified. So then you reached out to companies like, yo, prove it. And they proved it. Then you owe the debt. A lot of people think if you keep disputing it, it'll come off. That's not true. If the debt is valid, it's not reporting inaccurate, and they got the paperwork that proves you owe the debt, you owe the debt. There's no other way around it. If that happens to you, then the only option you have after that is to either negotiate a settlement or a pay to delete if it is in collections. Are you answering all credit questions? Because I don't want to bombard you with questions. Yeah, but I'm like flipping through the different platforms too. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, things like that. I have a charged off loan over 6 years, just starting to adding percentage. Should this be happening? So it depends. It depends. If it's in your initial agreement that they are going to be charging you interest, then yes, it's completely legal. If it is not in your original agreement and they didn't take you to court and get a judgment, because most courts will assess you interest if you don't pay the judgment after a certain time, then no, that is illegal and that's grounds for a dispute. I am planning on doing a voluntary repossession on my car. Am I able to purchase another car loan prior to sending it back? So it depends. It depends on the lender that you're going to go through for your car. So I'm like, for you, Cole, I would say if you don't really give a damn what kind of car it is, you just kind of need something from point A to point B. And I really hate this company because the interest rates are high, but you need something, right? JD Buyrider is a company that would do that. I know somebody personally who did a voluntary repossession, but prior to sending the car back, they went to JD Buyrider and got a car and then voluntarily had their car repossessed. The thing about a voluntary repossession is that it has the same effect that a regular repossession has on your credit, and you'll still owe that company money. So, before that derogatory mark hits your credit, you can try, but you can't guarantee. I'm going to be honest with you, can't guarantee. Now, once the vehicle has officially been repossessed, right? They sell it at the auction and they give you the amount that you owe. If you pay that amount off, or you make if you have a payment arrangement set up and you can still afford that payment arrangement as well as the new car payment, most lenders will kind of be more like, all right, yeah, we'll do it. That's fine. You might have a high as hell interest rate, but they'll be like, yeah, that's cool. No judgment, no court. It falls off in 2023. I honestly wouldn't even be dealing with it then, because if the reporting time has the debt as expiring in 2023 and you're not buying anything between now and then, I would leave it alone if you want me to be honest, because what you don't want is you don't want to dispute it and then you reset the statute of limitations for that debt depending on what state you live in. If it comes back as validated, or if you inadvertently validate the debt yourself, you could reset the statute of limitations so that even though it falls off next year, now they have even longer to sue you. Let's go back. Yes, we should partner. I love how upfront and honest you are. I'm a loan officer. Oh, okay. My email address is in my bio. It's markiab@themoneyplug.co, not .com. So if you email me, we can definitely talk. I did it twice, validated by the collection agency, and they sent paperwork. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, I do consultations. So I really don't like talking about my services, but yes, the two services that I offer are, hey T. The two services that I offer are full service credit repair, as long as you do not live in the state of Georgia. For those of you who live in the state of Georgia, it is illegal to provide for-profit credit repair services to people in the state of Georgia unless you are a real estate broker, a lawyer, or a nonprofit organization. I am not any of those things, so I cannot provide for-profit credit repair services in the state of Georgia, period. Now, if you're in a different state, holla at me. The other service that I provide is something known as a credit audit. And what that means is you and I sit down on Zoom. I do everything on Zoom, by the way, so that I can record the call so that you guys can feel comfortable. I feel like if you can meet me and see me, right, I feel like you're more comfortable. And when it comes to talking about your finances, it is very important that you're comfortable and you trust the person that you're speaking with. So when I do the consultations, or when I do anything really, we do everything on Zoom. And we literally go line by line, you and I, through your credit report. And we identify what derogatory marks are affecting your score. What can you do to rehab that particular account specifically? If rehab is not an option, is removal an option? And if removal is an option, what options do you have to remove it, right? And then we also talk about credit building. I'd like to tell people all the time that credit is not one size fits all. And so I hate when I go into these credit repair groups or these first time home buyer groups and I see all of these people who are just blindly adding accounts or doing things to their credit profile because they saw other people doing it. That is not a good enough reason to be adding these accounts to your profile. So when we do these credit audits, we go over credit building and what will work for your profile. You guys got to understand that your credit report is literally as unique to you as your fingerprints. It is your financial fingerprint. It journals your entire life. Every financial decision you've ever made probably is listed on your credit report. So it is important that you understand that the solution for your problem may not be the same solution for someone else's. I had a medical collection that I paid off and it still comes up on my credit. How do I get it off? Unfortunately, because you did not negotiate the removal of this account prior to paying, they do not have to remove this account. However, lucky for you, for those of you who don't know, today we did the medical debt and how it affects your credit score webinar. There are some changes that go into effect July 1st. Starting July 1st, paid medical debt will no longer report to the credit bureaus. So beginning July 1st is when you guys will start seeing the changes, but that account will be actually coming off by itself. So you don't have to do anything. Delete late payments, question marks. Are you asking me how to delete late payments? What are you asking me, Des? Lifestyle. Yes, I can help people in Texas. Let me go. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to go back to the other one. Question, can you provide the credit audit to Georgia residents? Yes. And so if you do live in the state of Georgia, when we do the audits, I typically kind of add a little bit more time so that we can go over like your letters, if you have letters, kind of like just like a little bit more detail. I try to give you guys as much as I can during those because I know that you guys I can't provide repair for you. So that is an option that you have if you live in the state of Georgia. Something else that I will say, and I didn't want to, but I'll say it. So when it comes to any of my clients, whether you're a full service repair or if you are somebody who just got an audit done, once you sign up with me, you will forever have access to your portal. I typically don't take it away unless it's been like a year and I've never heard from you again or something like that. Or I just need to free up some space in my software. But if you ever have questions, you can always come back and ask. Even if you're no longer a client of mine, can you be surprised how many people who are no longer clients, but they still come back and ask questions occasionally, especially those of you who live in the state of Georgia. It's really important that you ask as many questions as possible when you have those questions, instead of kind of doing shit and being like, oh, what did I do? Right? So, sign up for the audit. We'll sit down and talk. And then as you're repairing your credit, if you have questions, I have a free Facebook group you guys can join. You should see it at the bottom of the screen. And it's also, plugged in the Credit Clubhouse. You'll see it on the bottom of your screen on Facebook. Sorry, Instagram. Instagram is not on there, but if you want to join and you're on Instagram, the name of my Facebook group is called Plugged In the Credit Clubhouse. That is a free, very safe space. If I see even one spam comment, I'd be deleting people. But the Facebook group is a free, safe space. All of my lives are saved so that you guys can go back and watch. I have some free templates available. I have all kind of PDFs and stuff that help you guys. Like, it's so much in the Facebook group. And I literally, if anybody in here is in the Facebook group, they'll tell you, I'm literally on every single post answering every single question. And there's about 2,000 people in the group. I have a charge off. Is it true that the company reported it on their tax returns as a loss and I don't have to pay it? No, that is not true. That's not true at all. Even if the account is charged off, that has no bearing on your level of responsibility for that debt. That is for that company. They wrote it off as a loss so that they're not paying the taxes for that, because it's supposed to be income, right? You're supposed to pay them. So they're expecting that as income. If they don't get income, they don't want to pay taxes on the money that they didn't get. So they charge off the account. You still owe. Now, once an account enters a charge-off status, that company has two options. They can either hold on to the debt and continue to pursue you for it, or what they can do is sell it to a debt collection company. Now, once a charge-off is sold to a debt collection company, you're going to lose even more points technically for the same debt, because that charge-off is not going to disappear. Because when it comes to original creditors, they have something known as an obligation or a duty to report the history associated with the account, meaning every payment you've ever made, every missed payment you ever had. They still have to report that for the next 7 years. So even though it went to collections, the history associated with that account is still going to report. And so the charge off is a part of that history. So you lost points for the charge off, and now you're going to lose even more points for the collection. So yes, you might want to take care of it before it becomes a collection. What is the consultation price? It's $100, and it's usually between 60 and 75 minutes, depending on how much is on your credit report and what kind of questions you have. I also offer that service, the credit audit service for couples, and it's like slightly cheaper because you two are together. What other questions? I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll up and catch everybody's questions. Question. I was notified that I have an old credit card that was in 1996. They said I have a contract breach. Okay. They said they had it since 2020. They want to file with the court. I'm no longer working. What do I do with this collector? You need to do something known as a debt validation, because that is really old. If the credit card closed in 1996, the statute of limitations has to be reset by now. That's impossible. Not the statute of limitations has to be reset. The statute of limitations has to be expired, depending on where you live at. No matter where you live at, 96, my sister was born in 99. She's 20 something years old. Yeah. So the statute of limitations has to have expired unless you did something to reset it. So the first thing you need to do is a debt validation, and you need to go over the details of the debt. And if you can identify that the statute of limitations has been reset, then you don't have to do anything, because technically they can't take you to court. Yes, you still owe, but the debt is over 20 years old. So I damn sure ain't paying. And I'm gonna be honest with you. At that point, it's between you and God. However, if the statute of limitations has been reset, what that means is that they can take you to court if they want to. So it would kind of be in your best interest to handle it, right? Because you don't want to go to court. But for me, I would say that your first step should definitely be a debt validation, because how they respond to that debt validation is going to determine what your next steps should be. And a debt validation is where you request that a company sends you all of the evidence that they have that not only a debt is owed, but that you are the party that owes that debt. Is there a way I can get the credit bureaus to update balances? Some are 6 months outdated. You can request that a creditor, update the fucking bureaus. Or you can request, you can go to the bureaus and say, hey, these accounts are reporting inaccurately. Please update these accounts. And so they'll investigate and go to the company, and the company will be like, oh, these are the new balances. And those accounts will update. Hold on, I'm scrolling back up. Does it take more than 6 months to delete late payments? It could potentially. It depends on what the deal is that you should, it depends on a lot of things. With late payments, if it's an open account, you're at the mercy of that lender. So if they don't want to update it to on-time payments and you were actually late, then they don't have to. And if they say, yeah, we'll do it, and you get it in writing and they don't do it, then you can kind of force their hand that way. But unless they agree to it, you can't make them do it. Now, if it's inaccurate and you were never late, that's something different. Once the inaccuracy is identified and confirmed, they have 45 business days to make that change. Again, when it comes to late payments, you're at the mercy of that lender unless you can prove that they're reporting it inaccurately. What about, yes, I can help people in North Carolina. How do you delete late payments? You ask. So if it's an open account, you say, hey, listen, I've had a really good relationship with you guys. I love you guys. I recommend you guys to everybody. I just feel like the late payments that you all are reporting are not an accurate depiction of our relationship and my credit worthiness. At the time, my hours got cut at work due to COVID, or I contracted COVID and I, had my hours cut, or I lost my job, or whatever the case may be. And unfortunately, it impacted my financial ability, my ability to pay this debt, this financial obligation. And so even though I don't have all the money now, right? I'm not rich, but I am in a better position now. And I feel like since then I've had nothing but on-time payments. So I really think it would be for my benefit that you guys update my late payment to paid as agreed. Again, just because they tell you no, right, the first time, does not mean that they're going to keep telling you no, right? So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if you were in here earlier when I was talking about my late payments. I had literally one late payment across 2 credit cards that I had with Capital One. And those motherfuckers told me no 3 times. It wasn't until that last time that I sent the letter and that they told me, all right, girl, we'll do this for you this one time. And that's it. Because remember, people are shitty. And, behind these systems are people, and people can have shitty days. And when you have a shitty days, you can kind of be an asshole at work. And so sometimes people are assholes at work. Try again a different day. Let's see. Now, if it's a closed account and you have late payments, you can again ask them to update it. You don't lose points for asking questions, or you can request a copy of your payment history and force them to validate each individual late payment. It has to be paid to come off. Collections, yes. If you want me to be honest with you. Now, you can dispute, and sometimes it'll come off and it'll never repopulate, and congratulations. But a lot of times when you dispute, if it's not close to the reporting time expiring, then it can repopulate with a new debt collector because it means that they sold it. So the only way that you can guarantee that not only the account will come off, but that it will not repopulate, is to do a pay to delete. But remember, pay to deletes only apply to collections. They said they had it since 2020. They want to file with the. Oh, I already read that. Can they keep charging you interest though? So here's the thing. When an account is in collections, the collection company cannot charge you interest. However, if you had an agreement with a company, right? And like if you didn't pay it, they would charge you a certain amount of interest over a certain period of time. That account can keep accruing interest. However, a debt collection company cannot charge you interest or assess interest, right? So you got to be able to make the distinction when you're looking at where's this interest coming from. Wow, thank you. You're the truth. Oh, thank you. One late payment is messing me up. Listen, so let's say you can't get a late payment removed. What are your options? The more on-time payment history you guys add to your credit profile, the less of an effect that late payment is going to have. And so I typically tell people like, my email, it's not in my bio no more. Holy shit. All right, hold on. I'll put my email. Ow. I put it in the comments for you. Not .com, just .co. And y'all remind me to put that shit back in my bio. I probably took it out for some reason or another. But yeah, so when it comes to late payments, there are some accounts like I call them cheat codes. You know how you used to play San Andreas and you didn't want to drive all the way across town, so you would put the cheat code in for the jetpack. So my little jetpack cheat code, right, when it comes to building credit is accounts that don't do credit checks and usually don't have like interest or fees or very low fees. These are accounts that will add positive reporting history to your profile without really costing you much, point wise. And what I mean by that is, so there are some credit cards. So y'all know my personal favorite is the Credit Sesame Cash card. What that card does is it operates just like a debit card. You put money on the card, you spend the money on the card. You're not borrowing any money, so there's no interest. There's no credit check to get access to the card. You literally just fill out the form online and they'll mail it to you. I don't have my wallet with me right this second, but I would have showed you guys. And it literally, you use it like a debit card. When the money runs out, you can't spend more. There's no monthly payments. There's no fees. There's no nothing. But for every month that you use the card, it will report on-time payment history to the credit bureaus. And so for those of you with late payments or charged off accounts, the more on-time payments you have, you see where I'm going with this, right? The less of an effect those late payments have on your score. So what's another card? The Chime Credit Builder card is another one. Now that one does require that you have to have a direct deposit going to the Chime account for 2 months of at least $200, I believe, in order to qualify for the Credit Builder card. But after you qualify, you can switch your direct deposit back. And then the extra debit card, but the extra debit card does have some fees associated with it, but none of them do credit checks. So it doesn't matter what your score is, you qualify for it. Also, if you attended the webinar that we did last week, the credit building webinar that we did last week, you guys know that I gave out the credit building ebook, and pretty much it broke down the different tiers of credit cards. And like what cards kind of like are at that level. So you can look for some comparable credit cards if you don't like the ones that I have listed to kind of help you on your credit building journey. As a matter of fact, I'll pull it up right now. I'll be able to Instagram. You guys won't be able to see it, but TikTok will be because I'm on StreamYard. So hold on, let me go back and then I can show you guys. So old medical bill from 2016. I got to call, is that too old to worry about? No, it's not too old to worry about, depending on what state you live in and the statute of limitations. So you definitely want to get the details associated with that debt. So do a debt validation. I'm going to share my screen on TikTok with you guys. So the ebook was only available to people who came to the webinar last week. It's not available anywhere per se. Let me see, window. Here it is right here. Hold on, let me switch some stuff around. There we go. Okay. Wow. Let me go back to the top. You know what? It's called the Credit Card Cliff Notes. For those of you who are watching on Instagram. And I don't have it. I might put it somewhere. I might put it in the Facebook group, actually. Should I put it in the Facebook group? You know what? I'm going to put it on my website. So if you guys go to my website tomorrow in my store, you guys will be able to see it for free. It'll be available for free for you guys. I'll put this in there, but it's literally just information that's publicly available, just kind of somewhere where you guys can go back and reference it. So if you look, tier 1 starter cards, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit because it looks kind of small on my screen, guys. Oh, too far. Can I widen this? Yeah, I can actually. Ta-da. Okay. So tier 1 starter cards. Now, remember when we did this live last week, when we did the webinar last week, we talked about it was specifically towards people who were coming out of high school or coming out of college and didn't really have credit. So we all started with the tier 1 cards. These are for people who really don't have a credit history. And this is going to allow you to build credit history so you qualify for better cards. I broke down the 3 different types of cards you'll typically see when it comes to starter cards. So, and that's typically the student cards, and you do not have to be a student to qualify for all student cards. There's secured cards, and then there's unsecured cards. The difference between a secured card and those prepaid cards I keep telling you guys about is that the secured cards are still a credit card. It's still a credit check. It's still interest because you're borrowing money, et cetera, et cetera. Those prepaid credit cards I told you guys about, there's no interest. There's no credit checks. And I think Extra is the only one with a fee. So each tier is going to show you the pros and cons of that particular tier of cards. And then these are some good cards to apply for. And I literally go tier 1, tier 2, which are no fee cards, mid-tier cards, premium cards, invite only cards, and then the good stuff, right? The rebuilding cards, people who are rebuilding, what cards would be best for you. And then you see, I listed a ton of them here for you guys. So yeah, I'll put this on the website tonight, and then I'll make a post on Instagram tomorrow, and I'll put it on my TikTok story. And that way you guys will know when it's up. It'll be up tonight. So if you give me like an hour after I get off live, you'll see it. But tomorrow for sure, you guys will be able to download this for free from my website. And then for those of you who are rebuilding and you feel like you qualify for unsecured cards, these are some good ones. I remember my Indigo card. I actually just saw it the other day and I was supposed to shred it. And every time I say I'm going to shred it and I sit it down, I never do. For those of you with bankruptcies, a lot of times when you guys are trying to rebuild with a bankruptcy, it's almost impossible. It feels like, because nobody wants to give you credit. So these cards are cards that will go ahead and approve you if you have a bankruptcy. So again, I'm going to put this in the store, and you know what? I'll add this to the Facebook group too. If you are active on Facebook, I'll go ahead and put it on there for you guys, so that you guys can see it. But yeah, that's what we'll do. So y'all give me like an hour or so. Matter of fact, I can do that shit now. Hold up. I can do it now. Y'all keep asking me questions. I'm about to, I'm logging in right now so that I can add it to the store and to the Facebook group. So y'all keep asking me questions. Let's see. She's the best, y'all. Don't sleep. Thank you, Suzette. It's open account, had late payments about a year ago. Since then, I've been on time. So then you might have a really good chance of getting the late payments removed using the Goodwill letter. I gave her my email address. I'm trying to do the change to only credit. It's so hard. A lot of people have a hard time making that transition because you're so used to grabbing your debit card. But I always say, make sure you pay all of your balances down first. And then once you do pay your balances down, that's when you can make the transition to strictly using your debit cards, because it's easiest to do it at that point. Why do people say don't get subprime cards? So a lot of people don't like subprime cards, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because they typically have low balances and high interest rates. But if you are rebuilding, right, meaning you had credit before and you fucked it up, beggars can't be choosers. You got to get what you qualify for, unfortunately. And so, now, I'm not saying keep these cards forever, right? Once you start qualifying for better cards, if this card's no longer serving a purpose and you really want to close it because maybe it has a high, maybe it has like high interest rates, or maybe it just, has an annual fee or something like that, and you're just tired of it and you have way better cards now, you can close them out. That's fine too. But you have to use these cards to generate that positive history that's going to qualify you for better cards. How many on-time payments should you have before you use the Goodwill letter? I typically say 6 months, and that's even pushing it sometimes. Like for sure a year. But like if you don't got a year, you need to have at least 6 months of on-time payments before you go asking these people for favors. Is it better to close the card or keep it open although you don't use it? So here's the thing about not using your credit cards. And the reason why and I know this kind of contradicts what a lot of other people say. The reason why I tell you to close the card if you're not going to use it, because with a lot of people, out of sight is out of mind. When you're not when you don't like that card and you throw it in the back of your wallet, you never take it back out. And so, because it doesn't have a balance on it, it's not assessing you interest. And because it's not assessing you interest, you really don't give a damn. And so, what happens is that when you least expect it, this account can and likely will close due to non-activity or inactivity. Sorry. And so let's just say you're in the process to buy a home, you're getting ready to go to the closing table in a week, and this account closes now. Remember, whenever you close an account, your credit score drops temporarily, but it drops. It's going to take a lot more than a week, right, to get those points back, though. And so if you control when the account closes and you control when the points are lost, you can also control the comeback, the points that you get back from having that account closed. And now when you get those points back, you still have the history associated with that card, yes. But you don't have to worry about, damn, I didn't use that card this month. I need to go back and use it. Damn, even though the interest rate is 30% and my annual fee is $300. You get what I'm saying? You control the narrative with your credit. And so if you close that card, you hold that power. So yeah, you'll still lose points, but you know when you're losing those points and you know what you'll need to do to fix it, as opposed to them closing the account later when you least expect it and it really being an inconvenience at that time. What do you think of Credit Strong? I like Credit Strong. I've been using Self, which is like a cousin of Credit Strong. They are both backed by Austin Capital Bank. And I've been using Self since like 2014, 2015, literally every year. I recommend them to everybody. Like I love Self and the concept of what Self and Credit Strong does. For those of you who are not familiar, Self and Credit Strong are companies that will allow you to choose how much you want to get in a loan, right? So you will sign up for the account. You pick what you want the loan amount to be and how much you can afford to pay every month and for how long. And then you make the payments, right? They come out automatically. When you're done paying off the loan, what actually ends up happening is you get a check or direct deposit in the amount that you paid into the program. You're actually paying into a certificate of deposit instead of paying off an actual loan. So not only are you building your credit, but you're saving. So if you are somebody who struggles with saving money and you need an emergency fund, using Self or using Credit Strong is actually a really good idea to kind of achieve that goal. What do you think of I could swear I seen a separate question. I don't know where it went. Somebody asked me, oh, here it is. Is rental karma good for reporting on your credit? Rent reporting, period, is a positive. It damn sure ain't a negative. Like, no matter what happens, adding positive reporting information to your credit report can only be positive. Some people, like, depending on, like, let's say, for example, if you're going to go get a home loan, depending on the kind of loan you're getting, it won't have a bearing on whether or not you qualify, but it either has a good benefit or no benefit at all, but it's never a negative. Now, what company you use is solely dependent on you. I always say, make sure that the company reports to all 3 credit bureaus. That's the most important part, because what you don't want is that inflation of that one score. So, for example, I know y'all love y'all Experian Boost. I fucking hate it. And the reason why is because it only inflates your Experian score. Or yeah, it's Experian, right? Yeah. It only inflates your Experian score. So your other scores are still going to be shitty and your Experian scores are going to boost up. But then when you go house buying, they don't go off the highest score. They go off your middle score. So even if you have this dumbass high score, it's not doing anything for you. So when you do rent reporting, or if you're somebody who's going to report your like subscriptions and something like that, make sure that the service that you are using reports to as many bureaus as possible. That's what I will say about that. What other questions you guys got for me? I need to be uploading. Hold on. I need to be adding this to the damn. Let's see. Can I duplicate this product and just, duplicate. I'm literally adding it to the store right now. Alrighty. Files. Hold on. Are you guys still asking questions? Let me go back and see. Where can I find pricing for you? I need a credit repair person ASAP. The link in my bio takes you to my website. And you can go to become a client, or matter of fact, I don't know if TikTok allows you guys to click links. But my website is kind of floating around at the bottom of my screen. So www.themoneyplug.co, not .com. And if you go to my website and click on Become a Client, it outlines all of the services I provide, the costs associated with each service, and how to sign up. Keep asking y'all questions. I'm adding the credit card cliff notes to my store so that you guys can download it. Where is it? Ha, here we go. Upload. Let's see. And then I just got to change the cover. What other questions you guys got from me? Do you know the Georgia law for loans? Unfortunately, I do not. That's not something I don't like. When it comes to state laws, I don't know all state laws off the top of my head. That's way too much. That's way too much. I was on Credit Karma, whom I know is bullshit, but it says my student loans are $0. How? So it's not that Credit Karma is bullshit, even though I hate Credit Karma. That's just a personal vendetta, right? Credit Karma isn't bullshit. It's just that a lot of people that you guys are getting accounts with now do not use that score anymore to determine whether or not they're going to give you an account. That's why I don't like Credit Karma. Now, whatever Credit Karma is reporting, that information is coming from somewhere. So you need to reach out to the person, or so the loan servicer, whoever's the owner of that loan. You need to reach out to them and contact them to see why the hell is reporting at $0. Because it could be you got debt forgiveness. It could be that it's just incorrect. It could be like 1,000 other things. Yeah, Navient, didn't they like transfer a lot of their debts too? So it could be that your student loan debt was transferred and the new account just hasn't started reporting yet. Let's see. Keep asking me questions, y'all. I have to change the cover so that you guys can start downloading it. Alrighty, share, download. Shout out to Canva. Boop. Alrighty. Oops. Okay. General. Removed. Righty. And you have unsaved changes. Stay on this page. Oh, save. All right. So if you guys go to my store, you should be able to see the credit card cliff notes. It's free. You'll still have to like check out though. I will say that you still have to check out. Or like give it 5 minutes, maybe. I don't know. But it's free. But you'll still have to go through the process of checking out. But the credit card cliff notes is available on the website now. I was a part of the Wild Tech class. Oh shit. So if you were a part of that lawsuit, that class action lawsuit, you're going to receive some documentation that's going to better explain it. But for a lot of those people, what actually ended up happening was that your loan was forgiven, which is different from like just having it removed. Pretty much it just looks as if you paid it off. So if that did in fact happen, expect a drop in your credit score, because whenever you pay off your student loans, your score is going to drop, but it's completely temporary. And it's a huge bonus for your credit score, your credit report itself, because like that's a huge loan to look paid off. What other questions? Oh, I got more questions. Oh. All right. Let me add it to the Facebook group too. So it's on the website. Now I'm going to add it on the Facebook group so that you guys can see it. What is wrong with my friends? What is wrong with my friends? Oh goodness. All right. Let's see. I'm adding it to the Facebook group as we speak. Let's see. Alrighty. And there we go. So if you guys give it like 2 seconds, you should be able to see it in the Facebook group as well. It's going to be in the group files, and I've also pinned it to featured. So you guys will be able. Why is that the frozen picture for this live, for that live? I can't believe it. Facebook loves embarrassing me. But yeah, so I got it up on Facebook, and it's also on the website. Late payments and student loans prior to COVID, best way to get them removed. Student loans are a different beast. Whenever you have student loans, I actually don't advise you to remove them because, first of all, do me a favor, don't call me by that name. That's not my name now. I'm sorry, I have no idea who you are, but that's not my name now. My name is no longer Simpson. It's Brown. And you do not have to say my whole government like that. Like, oh my God. I don't know who you are though. Sorry. That caught me off guard. I have not been called that name in a really, really long time. When it comes to late payments, we kind of talked about those already. How do you remove them from your credit report? It is at the mercy of the lender. So if it's an open account, you can kind of leverage the relationship that you have with them to use that to get it removed, or you can try to force them to remove it by forcing them to validate each individual late payment. Machuki, oh my God, I'm gonna follow you back. Yep, I'm gonna follow you back. Oh my God, how are you? Oh, we'll talk later. But with student loans, right? I never advise you guys get those taken off because for most of you, your student loans are like the foundation of your credit report. And so with all of that history, because remember, all of the deferred payments that you have on your credit report are considered on-time payments. So removing all of that on-time payment history actually hurts you more than it helps you. So first, I suggest try rehabbing it. If that is not an option for you, removing it is very tricky. I did do a video on YouTube. It's one of my earlier videos, so everybody was complaining that the music was too loud. But to remove it, it has to be that particular tactic. It has to be a closed account. And if it's not like a closed account, you can try maybe consolidating or refinancing with a new company and then attacking the previous history. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to do something very similar to a debt validation. You're going to request a copy of your promissory note for your student loan. What that means, the promissory note is what ties you to that debt, right? That is what gives them the right to say you owe me money. So if they cannot provide a copy of that promissory note with your signature on it, doesn't have to be a wet signature, but a signature, right? If they cannot provide that, then legally they have to stop reporting the student loan. Now, that's just one of the ways that I use to remove student loans. But again, the student loan has to be closed. All right, yeah. So from what I'm tracking, the credit card Cliff Notes book is up. I'll also post that again. I'll post it on Instagram like tomorrow to remind you guys, because after this, I'll probably go to bed. Oh, I haven't even been live that long. Oh, I was on the webinar before this. I was supposed to say, damn, I'm tired. Oh, I have been live long as hell. So I've been live for an hour and a half. All right, come on. Give me a couple more questions and then we'll hop off. You guys know we got to do the live tomorrow. We do a live every Friday. So make sure you guys are following me to get the live tomorrow. What else? For those of you who weren't here earlier, y'all wore me the hell down. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Y'all wore me the hell down. So the course is coming. Y'all want to see something? I'll show y'all something. I ain't showing nobody this yet, but I'm gonna show y'all because I'm excited about it. I don't know why that stuck in my head, actually, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Bow. I'm about to show y'all something. This is the cover art, right, for the class. I'm actually super excited about it. And then share screen, window. Ta-da! So this is what the class is called. So the class is called the class about nothing. And it's literally, and the reason why I call it that, because this class is literally the class about everything. So I've already done the framework for the main portion of the class, and it's already over 40 modules. literally over 40 modules. So there's a lot of information that's going to be in here. It's not just about how to repair and rebuild. It's the processes behind it, because you need to understand how the laws work with the dispute process so that you know why you're sending specific letters and why they did not work. If you do not understand the process behind your repair, you will consistently be stuck in that cycle. So like I said, it's a lot of information. So it's going to be a lot of like, and some of the stuff is stuff that I've already given out to some of you, right? Some of the ebooks that I've put together. Yes, it is. I'm a huge Wale fan. I'm from the DMV. I'm from Baltimore. Shout out to Baltimore. So I'm a huge Wale fan. But it's going to have a lot of ebooks. It's going to have worksheets. Like it's so much information. And I'm literally so excited for it. Yeah. That's literally what it's from. It's one of my favorite pieces of work from Wale. But I'm super, super excited. Super excited. Super excited. But yeah, I just had to show y'all that because it never fails when I get off TikTok live. They be like, hey, are you doing a course? Or I would love to, do you do mentorship? I would love to be a part of that. And And usually I'd be like, no, sorry. But I'm finally putting it together for you guys and it'll come out soon. So I'm shooting for September 1st, but obviously when I got more information, I'll put it out for you guys. But the framework is kind of already hammered out and I'm so excited. And then all right, so that's just the main course. The main course has like over 40 modules so far. I don't see me adding any more, but it could happen. And so there's going to be add-ons that are available for you guys to purchase. So if you are a credit repair organization, there is going to be an add-on for you specifically where I go into more detail about specific things like social media and digital media management and your business and the role that it plays. Things like, matter of fact, I can pull up my framework and I'll read it to you guys. Like I've literally not told anybody else about this, just y'all. So there's going to be a part that talks about business formation. And then there's going to be a part that talks about like the marketing aspect of it. And those are going to be add-ons if you need them, if you're a credit repair organization. So the business formation part is obviously going to talk about how to start a credit repair, a CROA compliant credit repair business. If you don't know what CROA is and you're talking about repairing credit, you do not need this, right? You do not need to be opening up a business if you can't tell me what CROA is. And for those of you who do not have a credit repair business, it's the Credit Repair Organizations Act. It outlines what credit repair companies are and are not allowed to do to people, right? And so if you want to be a CROA compliant a business, there's going to be a whole separate section. This section has 19 modules so far, right? And then there's a separate section for marketing, which is, for those of you who don't know my history, I have a history of as doing, me. Oh, I have a history of like digital media marketing. I used to be a virtual assistant for a couple small businesses. And so I do really good with marketing. So there's going to be a separate section for that. Things like email lists, engaging with your audience, how to get publicity for your business without hiring a publicist, stuff like that. So like I said, like this is going to be so dope. And I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I just got to make sure it's done right. So even though I'm shooting for September, you guys also know I got a lot of stuff coming up lately. So I'll keep you guys posted with that. But this is literally the first time I'm talking about it. Like nobody else knows this outside of like obviously my immediate family and friends. But like I haven't announced this on any of my platforms outside of this particular live. So congratulations. Y'all know a secret. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. What are you using to stream? Technically, I'm using StreamYard right now. So not everybody has access to this feature for TikTok specifically, but right now I'm streaming live on YouTube, TikTok, my Facebook page, as well as inside of my Facebook group and on Twitter. My phone is on Instagram. That's why you guys don't get to see the cool border that goes around. And so I use StreamYard. My background, I made this myself on Canva by using one of their templates for something else. And then I just kind of adjusted it to fit my camera. And I personalized it and everything and kind of made it my own. The reason why I do it like this is because even though I'm streaming on all these platforms, just because you're following me on one doesn't mean you're following me on another. So that way you can see what all of my platforms are while I'm talking. You are reading my mind. Will the training be limited spots? So how it's going to work. So when I roll out the course, right, how it's going to work is you guys, it's self-paced, right? So you'll be able to do it however you want. However, when the class launches and the class first goes live, there will be an option where I'll have a separate Facebook group for you guys, and we'll be in the group, and then once a week we'll go live and talk about that week that became unlocked in the course. And then, we'll go through the entire course. So far, it's looking to be about 7 weeks long if you get all of the add-ons, 5 weeks if you stick to just the main course. And so each week there will be lives, and then the Facebook group is going to be open for you guys to ask questions and, to really get that like one-on-one engagement with me. And so, so it's going to kind of be like that. So I'm really excited, super excited for this to be coming out finally. So yeah. And let me tell y'all something. I was dead set against this. Anybody who's been following me for a little bit, y'all know I was dead set against doing a course. So just know y'all asses wore me down. Just know y'all wore me down. And for those of you who are credit repair companies, I am offering mentorship that's actually being announced tomorrow, since it's Friday. But I'm offering mentorship now. Now y'all know how I feel about this. If you've been following me for a while. You are not automatically approved to be in the mentorship just because you can afford it. I can only afford to align myself with people who have the same values and things like that as me when it comes to business, because I would never want somebody associated with me who don't stand for the things that I stand for as far as how this industry works. And so as a matter of fact, I'll get the link for you guys. That way only y'all will have it. I'm going to put the link in the chat on TikTok for you guys. And then you guys can, if you want to sign up, there's like a form you'll fill out. And then you and I will sit down on Zoom and kind of have a conversation about what you're looking for and what I can offer you. And if that is something that you're interested in, then we'll kind of move forward from there. But just because you fill this out, please know, just because you fill this out does not mean that you qualify to be a part of the mentorship program. Let me get the link for you guys. Boop. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I got the link. Okay. Ta-da-da. So I'll put it in the chat, but it's getting announced tomorrow. And it's a 3-month mentorship program where I will and it's very limited. Like it's a very small, like I'm talking less than 10 class size. And I want to keep it that small so that I can make sure I'm giving you all of the attention that you need in that time period. That's why I'm keeping it that small. Do I need to pay off new charge-offs to raise my score? Paying off a charge-off will not raise your score. However, it will improve your credit worthiness. So if you are applying for things and you are being denied, paying a charge-off can help you with that. It can get, if your score wasn't the issue, but the item on your credit report was, paying it off can boost the chances of you getting approved. However, it will not raise your score by paying charge-offs, unfortunately. However, not paying a charge-off can end up costing you more points because that charge-off can then be sold to a collection company. And once that account is placed in collections, you already lost the points for having the charge-off. You're going to lose even more points for having the collection. Do multiple hard inquiry, scroll up about what, Jalissa? What I miss? I don't see nothing else. Type it again. Maybe type it. Do me a favor. Type it again. Maybe it filtered it out. Do multiple hard inquiries count as one when gained in a 30 to 45 day period? Absolutely not. We talked about that a little bit earlier when it comes to inquiries. When it comes to credit inquiries, and I know they tell you to shop around, and any shopping around that you do within a 30 to 45 day time period only hits your score one time. But what they're not telling you is that each individual inquiry is still recorded on your credit report. And so even though it only affects your score one time, no matter what your score is, if you apply for something, you can still be denied because you have too many inquiries in a 12-month time period. So that's definitely something you want to be cognizant of. Did you go to court yet? No, my court date is next month. I went to my first court date, which is like where I told them I planned on disputing, and then we set the date for the actual trial. I sent in all my paperwork before the date, like before they told me, like I turned it into the courthouse, and then I had to mail off a copy, right? I did that already. And now I just have to wait till my court date, unless the company is going to reach out to me and try to settle or something like that. So Can I get a charge off removed once I pay? So here's the thing about charge offs, y'all. And I guess this is charge off and student loans. A lot of y'all be trying to get these off, and I get it, like, because like it might have some late payments or the charge off itself. But hear me out. If you have a thin credit profile, or if you're not building properly, then removing these accounts are actually going to hurt you more than they help you. So you really, really, really need to evaluate your credit profile to see if you can afford to be missing this account. And if you just did set on removing it, removing a charge off is a lot harder because that is with the original creditor. So the documents that you signed it with them. So doing a debt validation, of course, they'll be able to pull out the contract and give it to you. That's not to say that you don't have a case if you dispute. If you can identify some kind of inaccuracy or a violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act in the way that it's reporting. What's up, JR Saxophonic? If you can identify that inaccuracy in the way that it's reporting, then you can still dispute a paid charge off. However, the chances of it being removed instead of updated is slim. I'll say that. A year of on-time payments before the late payment or after for the Goodwill letter. After and before. You want to make sure you need to have more on-time payments before than late payments. I will say that. But after, you want to make sure you have as many on-time payments as possible. Now, if you have less than a year, you can still ask for a Goodwill removal. And if they tell you no, wait a couple months, have a couple more on-time payments, and then apply again. I'm telling y'all, I got on Capital One nerves so fucking bad, y'all. So fucking bad. I was sending that shit like every 3 months. How to remove soft inquiries, the things we don't see. It's no point. So there's no way. I guess you could say, hey, stop looking at that. But unfortunately, when you guys sign up for a lot of these accounts, you give them the right to monitor your credit, right, in the background. And because by you signing up for an account with them, they have to keep an eye on your credit. They have to be able to identify when your credit is going in the wrong way so that they can kind of cut their losses and close your account if that's something that they need to do. So you can't, it's no point in removing soft inquiries because one, they don't count against your score or your credit profile, and you are the only one that can see them. So it's literally no point. It's a waste. But they're necessary. They have to keep looking at your score. That's also how you get credit limit increases. What'd she say? No, we're not doing that. So Undeniable Beauty, do me a favor and please stop giving advice in my comments because I don't do incorrect advice on my platform. Jalissa, do not tell them fucking people it is fraud. When you commit fraud, let me say this. As a credit repair organization, first of all, it is illegal for me to advise clients to commit fraud during the act of repairing your credit. That goes for my followers and all that stuff too. That's a violation of the Credit Repair Organization Act. If you report it as fraud and it is not in fact fraud, that is fraud. That's a charge against you that you could get. And also companies can seek payment for damages that your claim of fraud could have caused them, right? You can be sued for that. So no, please do not report inquiries as fraud. And I hate that advice. Yeah, I don't even like people saying what they heard. If it's not something that you've done for yourself and actually did it, I don't even advise putting it in the comments. So yeah, no, you don't do that. When it comes to hard inquiries, there's something known as the law of permissible purpose. So with the law of permissible purpose, that means that a company has to have written authorization or verbal consent from you that gave them the right to pull your credit. And if a company cannot provide evidence of that authorization, then they have to remove the inquiry. So what you could do is you could write a letter to the credit bureaus and you could say, to whom it may concern. I recently pulled a copy of my credit report and I am noticing the following inquiries. Could you please provide me a copy of the authorization that I provided these companies, either in the form of an actual written authorization or a credit application? If you cannot provide this information, please remove these inquiries from my credit report, as it violates the rights given to me under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Boom. Now, sometimes when you send this letter to the credit bureaus and you list all the inquiries you want to dispute, and remember, only dispute inquiries that are tied to accounts that you did not open. Do not dispute inquiries that are tied to accounts you actually have. That can cause the accounts to be closed due to what they could perceive to be fraudulent activity. Now, if the bureau say we're not investigating this shit, reach out to the companies. You would send that exact same letter, but to each individual company that you are trying to get them to remove the inquiry. You get what I'm saying? So that is an option that you have. Oh, how long have I been on here? Jesus. I don't even want to tell y'all because I should not be on here. How many should I dispute at a time? I typically tell people as long as everything is still on one page, you good. If it starts spreading to 2 pages, cut that page off and then do another letter. That's what I typically do. I like the extra card. I recommend it to people. There is a fee associated with it, but I like it. It's sad that people are misleading people like that. That's why I do my research. It's sad. I always tell people, even with my information, trust but verify. The difference between me and a lot of the other content creators here on TikTok when it comes to credit repair specifically is that I give you guys access to the resource as I'm giving you the information. So like today, when we did the medical debt webinar prior to me coming live, I gave them a copy of the FCRA. I gave them a copy of HIPAA. I gave them a copy of the GLB because what I'm saying is true. Yes. But you still need to be able to see it for yourself to confirm that what I'm saying is true. The thing about people, and a lot of people that get on this platform, is they see something is successful, they see a business is lucrative, and they imitate, they want it. So they do whatever it takes to get it, and sometimes that includes lying. I'm not one of those people. Credit repair and being a content creator is not my main source of income. For those of you who do not know, I am a service-connected disabled veteran. The VA pays all my bills. So I'm not pressed for the cash. For some people, credit repair is all they have paying their bills. So they're willing to do whatever it takes to get their bills paid, right? That makes them desperate. I'm not one of those people. I became a credit literacy content creator because I was one of those people who got all the inaccurate information. I bought the CPNs, I hired Lexington Law, I did the credit sweeps, and none of that shit worked for me. And I had to put the work in to do it myself. And I was so pissed at all the people who told me to do that dumbass shit. And so I made it my mission, once I learned the game the right way, to make sure that I'm providing the right information to you all here on social media. So like, I hate that. I got in trouble for bullying for calling out a lot of the content creators on here too, but you know, it is what it is. Should I, hold on, I see the questions now. I don't think I'm ignoring y'all. TikTok put my comments up in bunches. My previous apartment sent the balance owed to collections, but has not updated the balance correctly. What actions should I take? So first of all, you can do a debt validation with that company, with the collection company. They need to not only explain what the balance is for, which would tell you why they're reporting it inaccurately, but they also need to be able to demonstrate your obligation to the debt. So they need to be able to show that you are actually the party that owes. And that's usually in the form of like a signed lease or an application with the apartment complex or something like that. And if they cannot prove the validity of that debt, right, then they can't report it anymore. Now, if you want to attack it at its source, right, you can do the same thing with the apartment company. You can reach out to the apartment complex or the property management company. You can say, hey, I need a copy of my tenant file. If you get a copy of your tenant file and they don't have specific things in there, then they have not demonstrated your obligation to that debt. So for example, if they cannot provide a signed copy of your lease, then technically you have no evidence to support that I was even a resident here. If you look at your lease and it says that a part of the move out process is that you guys do a walkthrough and you sign some paperwork with all the stuff that you owed or whatever, and they don't have that included in your tenant file, you can use that to remove that obligation to pay because they violated the terms of your lease and there was no signature or any documentation that you gave them showing that you acknowledged that that debt was owed. So like there are a couple things that you can do, whether attacking the collection company or attacking the apartment complex directly, but it all starts with the debt validation request. Sable secured credit card. I do not personally have a Sable card. However, I have heard really good things about rebuilding using a Sable secured credit card. I have not heard anything negative, if you want me to be honest. Should I settle a high balance charge off after trying to remove it with no luck? So what I'm going to tell you is this is a decision you have to make for yourself. You got to weigh the pros and the cons. The con is if you pay this off, you're not going to get any points back. I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. You're not going to get anything back for paying this other than a thank you for your payment. It will improve your credit worthiness, but it's not going to give you the points that you need for that to even really make a difference in most cases. So, however, the pro to paying off a charge off is that one, it prevents that account from going to collections. When you have a charge off, they have an option to either hold on to the debt and take you to court themselves, or they could sell the debt to a collection company who can then take you to court. Or just the collection itself is going to cost you points. So you really got to weigh, like, is it worth me not paying it? The points that I'm going to lose if it goes to collections, is it worth going to court and potentially having a wage garnishment entered against me? Like, is it worth it for me to not pay this debt? Remember, you can always settle. That is always an option for you. Hold on. What are your thoughts on CPNs? I heard they were illegal. They are definitely illegal. So here's the thing. Every good scam comes from something that's legal, because if you Google what is the true nature of a CPN, of course, it's a real thing. A CPN is a special number that is issued in very specific cases by the Social Security Administration. So people who have been members of identity theft, numerous, and it caused a lot of damage numerous times and things like that. Victims of domestic violence who have been tracked using their Social Security number, and so they are not safe using that number that they were using previously. Just because you fucked your credit up does not mean that you can go on Instagram and buy a CPN from somebody and think that that's, I don't even know why y'all think that that's legal. The only people who can determine whether or not you qualify for a CPN is the Social Security Administration. And so if you go on their website and you look at the requirements to qualify for a CPN and you do not qualify, then no. But a lot of times, and then a lot of the CPNs a lot of you are buying are actually not actual CPNs. They're Social Security cards for children or dead people that they have bought off the dark web. So that's also another reason why you should not be doing this shit. Celebrities do use CPNs because they qualify. They are very public individuals, so their information is stolen constantly, right? Constantly. I don't know if y'all remember the old LifeLock commercials. LifeLock was this company that was advertising that they can protect your personal information. And the guy was so sure of it that he put his Social Security number in the actual commercial. If you guys go on YouTube, you guys can kind of see the fall of LifeLock. But he put his actual Social Security number in the commercial. It was on billboards. They put it on the sides of trucks in New York and was driving it around. He had it on a plane that had the little thing on the back and was driving, flying around New York with it. His identity was stolen so many times. It is ridiculous. And so, of course, he had to go get a CPN because he could no longer use that number. But just because you fucked your credit up, that does not qualify you for a CPN. When should you file bankruptcy? I can't answer that for you because I am not a bankruptcy lawyer. I always tell people, if you're considering filing bankruptcy, go talk to a bankruptcy lawyer. I don't even advise on bankruptcy. Now, if you have filed bankruptcy, something smells really good. If you file bankruptcy and you need to get it removed, that's something different. Let me text my husband. You cooking, babe? Fuck. Oh. I don't know how I forgot. Work. That's how I forgot. I don't know.
Charge your damn phone.
Don't laugh at my warning. I don't know how long that was on there. I'm so sorry. My phone is dying. Okay. What other questions y'all got for me? Do you have any videos on debt validation? A ton. When I tell you I have over 200 videos on my TikTok page, I'm telling you I have a ton. As well as in the Facebook group, I've done a couple lives on it. But yeah, if you scroll through my credit, matter of fact, one of my playlists should have it on there. Fed loans, servicing loans, transferred / sold loans paid by VA, removed from Experian, how to dispute. I have no idea what you just said. They were sold and then they were paid off and then removed from Experian. So if they were removed, what are you disputing? I'm confused. Why do you want to remove them if they're paid off? If they're paid off, you should keep them to keep the history. But I'm confused. If they were, so you want to take them off of all of them? What are you trying to accomplish? Let me ask you that. What are you trying to accomplish? I hate the delay that TikTok has. Jesus. Oh, I guess not. Okay. I was going to answer the question, but all right. Well, I try to go live as often as possible, but for sure, every week I go live on Fridays. Yes, I love self. I always recommend self to everybody. I always go live on Fridays, anytime after 6 o'clock. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I be telling y'all 8 o'clock, right? But I operate on CP time. Okay, that's the only way I can say it. Like, I'm never on time. Anybody who knows me know I'm late everywhere. Never fails. Unless we want to go get something to eat, then I'll probably be on time. But I always go live on Fridays at some point to talk to you guys. It just really depends on what I got going on that day. If I'm traveling, then it'll probably be earlier in the day. But I always go live on Fridays, and then for the rest of the days of the week, I go often as live as possible. As often as possible, sorry. What do you think is the best tactic to paying down credit card debt with, say, 3 to 4 credit cards? Prioritize them in order of what is the word I'm looking for? Interest rate. I'm sorry, one of my kids are crying. You want to order them in order of interest rate. So the highest interest rate, you want to primarily focus on that one first. So of course, make your minimum payments, right? However, you want to make sure that any extra money you throw towards that one first and try to pay it off as quickly as possible. The snowball method is also very useful. Not my son screaming, Jesus. But the snowball method is very useful. Just make sure that you put them in order of interest rate, because when it comes to the interest rate, even if the balances are not like, oh, this one's not really high. When it comes to interest rates, it's going to take you longer to pay that card off because of the interest, especially if it's like a 20-something% interest rate. How many credit cards should I have? As many as you are actively using. If you have credit cards that you have to force yourself to use, or if you have credit cards that you're just not using, don't want to use, you hate it, then you have too many, get rid of it. Now, I know a lot of people tell y'all, oh my God, don't close no cards. Are you crazy? The history. But here's the thing. Out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people, right? So when you have credit cards and you're not actively using them, what can happen is that the company can now close your credit card due to non-activity or inactivity, sorry. And so if they close your account due to inactivity, that means you did not expect it, meaning the loss in points could be drastic depending on your credit profile. And then it could happen at like the worst time. Let's say you're getting ready for closing and your credit card closes. Now you're fucked. Whereas if you know you're not using this credit card, it's providing no value for you, you can close it yourself, take that hit in the points, and then rebound. You see what I'm saying? So I say if you're not using the card, you have too many. At a minimum, you should have 3. And that is just to kind of spread the responsibility of your credit utilization around. Because if you have one credit card, so here's the thing. Credit utilization is 30% of your credit score. Credit utilization is how much of your available credit are you asking? I gotta stop reading comments. How much of your how much of your available credit are you actively using? I have to stop reading comments when I'm talking. So if you only have one credit card, and let's say your credit limit is $1,000, if you max that card out, your credit utilization is now 100%. You're getting 0 points from that section. Whereas if you have 3 credit cards and all of them are worth varying amounts, then you maxing out one card it could hurt your credit utilization, but it's not going to max it out. Can I ask to remove the annual fee? Yeah, you can ask them. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but you can ask. My son is so mad. So I have a couple only. One is one I have to force myself, but I do actually need to buy my scooters. Huh? They better leave my baby alone. I hit them down there. They better leave my baby alone. I need a better reward. Oh, I hate shopping for clothes. LOL. No, for real. Like, anybody will tell you I hate shopping for clothes and I hate going to the mall. I know that's really weird, but like, I have severe social anxiety. So being like, if I go in a store in the mall and it's more than like 3 or 4 people, bro, I'm leaving. I will put all my shit down and walk out. I promise. The only store that I will bear it and like go through it is Children's Place. And it's only because it's for my kids. How long does a pay to delete take after the agreement is made? Usually 45 business days after payment. I need a better rewards card. I have the Capital One Quicksilver and the benefits aren't benefiting. So then it's not the card for you. So I always tell people, if you have a rewards card and you're just not satisfied, find a comparable card and apply for it. In terms of credit cards, I don't use, but have. Oh, yeah. So listen, let's talk about store credit cards for a minute, right? A lot of y'all be signing up for these fucking store cards just because you want a discount that day. That's a terrible idea. Terrible reason to open up a card. If you are not actively shopping at these places, you should not have the card. I don't care how much of a deal it is. For example, Kohl's. Everybody named Mama got a Kohl's card or JCPenney or Macy's and barely shop there. Close the fucking card out. It's not worth it. The example I always use, like during workshops and stuff, is like, let's say Lane Bryant sends me something in the mail saying, yo, we'll give you a card right now, $10,000 limit. I'm not fucking applying for that card. You know why? I'm 5'10", maybe 150 pounds. Soak it wet. What the fuck am I going to be buying out of Lane Bryant? I'm never going to be using that card. And remember, credit cards are only valuable to you as much as you use them. So you have to. No, I like their quality of clothes. I do need the card. LOL, I just hate shopping. I hate Kohl's. I hate Kohl's like I hate Forever 21. I could probably buy something out of there if I actually went in there and actually shopped, but the store is just so chaotic. I just can't handle it. Like my anxiety is just like, run. Like I can't. But like for me, I have 1,000 kids. So I have a Children's Place card. And that motherfucker, listen, if I can get miles for the money that I spend in Children's Place, oh baby, we'd have been all around the world. You could call me Amelia Earhart because baby, I would never be home. I'm telling you. But when it comes to store cards, only get cards for stores you shop in all the time. So like Target and their red card. You goddamn right I got a red card. You goddamn right I got a red card. I live for Target. On those days when I feel like my kid's stressing me out and my husband is just getting on my nerves, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go run errands. I will literally walk around Target for like 3 hours. I love Target. And I'll probably walk out of there with just Starbucks. And I'm okay with that. But I use my red card. I want a Children's Place card, but I'm gonna forever be broke. No, for real. So no, I feel like I'm always broke just because I got a lot of kids. So when I go clothes shopping, I have to buy 5 of everything. Like, so for me, it's a little different. What are you currently working on? Career, family, etc. So I'm working on not getting pregnant. That's, if you know me, then you know that's actually really funny. But all jokes aside, the course right now is taking up a big chunk of my time. I've ironed out the framework. So now it's recording the content, arranging the content, organizing the ebooks, the worksheets and things like that. So it's a lot of like late nights lately. And so that's what I'm working on as far as like business wise. Now, content create, like, you know, as a brand, something that I'm working on. I have a lot of speaking engagements coming up. A lot of like virtual and in-person events that I'll be doing with different organizations. I have a lot of volunteering stuff that's coming up. Shout out to Kappa Epsilon Psi Military Sorority Incorporated, because I definitely got to get my community service done. So I do have a lot of volunteer stuff. There's one event where I'll be passing out food at a food pantry for seniors that they do every month. It's like a drive-through food pantry. So I'm going to be passing out groceries to a lot of senior citizens. And then there was like another event where I'll be giving financial literacy information or credit literacy information specifically to homeless people, pretty much people like low income, homeless, survivors of domestic abuse, stuff like that. So I'm going to be I have a lot of those coming up actually. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Family wise, I'm working on balance, finding the balance between, you know, the money plug, the content creator, the money plug, the business, and then Markia, and then mommy, and then Day, and then sister, and soror, and you know, I'm trying to find that balance because, you know, I love what I do and my career has definitely taken off. I don't want it to affect my family. Money is cool and all, but if you ain't got nobody to share it with, shit's trash. When I get something removed, do it come back? It can. It depends on why it was removed. My God, kids will have every single outfit they put out. Girl, oh, tell me about it. I swear. And my kids are going back to public school this year, so like, I know I'm gonna go OD with school clothes shopping. I just know it. I feel it. Because my kids have been homeschooled for the last almost 3 years now. Which sorority? Kappa Epsilon Psi Military Sorority Incorporated. I'm getting tired, you guys. I did the webinar earlier and now I've been live on TikTok for 2 hours. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get off, guys. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm fucking exhausted. I thank you guys for all of the support. Remember, I'm going to update the link in my bio because the event is done, but join my Facebook group. I know you guys see it at the bottom of your screen. If you're on Facebook, sorry, Instagram, it's not on there. But if you are on Instagram and you want to join the Facebook group, the name of the Facebook group is Plugged In the Credit Clubhouse. And if you click the link in my bio, you can go to like the contact page and it has all my links and stuff. But remember, tomorrow I'm going to be announcing the mentorship for those of you with a credit repair business already and you're just kind of looking for mentorship, because I've had quite a few people ask me about it. That's going to be announced tomorrow, as well as kind of like the hint that the course is coming. So I'm excited about that. But we're also going to announce the next workshop. Y'all know I try to do a workshop every week. Next week I am taking a break because I did 2 last week, 2 the week before that, and then 1 this week. So I am taking a break next week, but there are more free webinars coming up. So make sure you guys are following me so that you can keep track of them all. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitter. I'm literally everywhere you guys are. I'm even on Pinterest. So shout out to Pinterest. But I try to provide as much information as possible on all of the platforms because they always used to say, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book. I read the books so that I can make the TikToks. So y'all can just watch that shit. But y'all know what I always say. Live every day like it's your last, but pay your bills and wear condoms just in case it's not. And I will see all of you tomorrow for our actual Friday night live, right? But if you missed the live, make sure you go to YouTube to check it out. If you're not active on Facebook, WWTMPD, What Would the Money Plug Do, is the name of my YouTube channel. But I will see all of y'all tomorrow, 6 p.m. Don't be late. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't be late. But see y'all.